Welcome back to No Plot Only Lore, this week brought to you by Pineapple on Pizza.
A Canadian invention.
Yeah, and the evilest thing that I could think of off the top of my head. I can't even say that with a straight face.
What a marshmallow kind of life you have if that's your definition of evil.
No, I love pineapple on pizza.
It's good. It's just good.
It's tasty. It's the salty and sweet combination. So we've just lost all of our subscribers.
We've cut the entire population of Italy out of our listener base. That's fine. We're better off for it.
Have you watched those two Italian guys that do like the policing of Italian?
Oh, food? Yeah. Approved.
Yeah. Thor loves those guys.
God, I can't stand them.
So Dungeons and Dragons recently released a list of new options for your player characters to look evil.
Yeah, it just came out this week. It's like a playtest version of evil coded like character options for, I think it was all casters, wasn't it?
I don't know.
No, it wasn't all casters because there was the Hell Knight or whatever.
Yeah,
it was mostly casters.
Yeah. And how are we feeling about the evilness levels of those classes?
I think for these classes, like, evil is in the eye of the beholder. Like,
yeah.
Yeah. No, evil is beholder. So the four options presented were the Pestilence Domain Cleric. So a cleric based around diseases and poison and bugs and gooey nastiness. There was the Circle of the Titan Druid, which was all like kaiju and monster movies. The Hell Knight Fighter, which I guess was, I don't even know what they were fully pulling from. Someone pointed out it's basically just Ghost Rider. And then the Demonic Sorcerer. So you're getting your powers from devils and demons. I would say the Circle of the Titan, I don't know what exactly is evil coded about just being larger than everything else to a frightening degree.
Is Godzilla evil? Because I think that there's a good case to be made for like a few kaiju movies where Godzilla and King Kong are the good guys. Yeah,
so actually in a lot of Godzilla movies, he's the good guy because he's the guy who fights off things like Ghidorah and Mothra. I think the first movie, it was like more meant to be I don't know, an elemental terror, like a on the same level as like a tsunami or something, just a force of nature that you couldn't control. And then in later movies, he actually sort of becomes the defender of Tokyo in a weird way. Maybe it's just like animalistic territorial behavior, but he does like protect humans in a certain way. And then there's other movies where like King Kong for sure was not like explicitly evil. He was just sort of captured and pulled out of the jungle, or they came to his territory. I think Skull Island, he actually winds up like making a connection with some humans or something. Like I vaguely remember the movie, but yeah, no, there's a couple of Godzilla movies or Godzilla and King Kong movies where it's like, this is a beast that should have just been left alone. He's not inherently evil.
And I think that was mostly my reaction to all of these.
Right.
Is the first time you describe to me a thing that is meant to be evil for player characters, the first thing I do is try to think of a good version of it. Right?
Yeah, we had the same instinct, yeah.
Yeah. The Pestilence Domain Cleric, to me, I was like, so Moses? Like just bringing some plagues? Is that how we're doing?
So what I thought of, because they talk a lot about like rats and stuff like that, and in my mind, there was that druid I made a while ago that was like trying to make the the pigeon lady from Home Alone 2. I thought, well,
you can totally do that now.
Yeah, that's a perfect pestilence domain cleric. Just a swarm of pigeons and disease. And then, yeah, the
Hell Knight, we already said, was like Ghost Rider.
Ghost
so you
Rider
could do
easily.
like the vengeance direction on it, and like the evil retribution for like the sins of whoever.
Yeah.
And then the demonic sorcerer, I had a problem with, in that sorcerers gain their power through lineage, which means that Dungeons and Dragons is saying that some lineages are just evil.
Yeah, that's a contentious one.
Like,
because like
I have evil in my blood.
Well, and yeah, I like having
Yeah.
made the what's their faces, the playable characters a couple editions ago. Oh, why can't I think of it now? Tieflings.
Right.
So like all tieflings are just like prone to evil behavior. Like I thought they got rid of that stuff from orcs, you know?
Right? And like, also, are all tieflings inherently sorceress?
Right. So, reading their description of the demonic sorcery background, the idea was like it might come from distant demonic ancestry, or a demon might have just cursed you, or you had a brush with the dark hunger of the abyss that corrupted you.
So I made my dad mad by stealing a donut? Like...
Yeah. Yeah, it's really... They really didn't do a great job of, like, completely severing it from the idea that, like, yeah, all demonic things are... But on the same... Okay.
I feel like Warlock would have been the direction for that, but, like, Warlock already has pacts.
Yeah, they have that Abyssal Pact or whatever it is, right?
Yeah. So, not... Which, I mean, does that make the Abyssal Pact also inherently evil?
Well, and that's just it. Is like now they're opening up some weird questions for a game that spent a big chunk of 5th edition, or at least 2024 5th edition, trying to get away from like predestination when it comes to like character classes or races. They certainly tried to like shoehorn it back in. Now that being said, I don't necessarily have a problem with that idea. I think if you're talking about abstract cartoons and heroic ideals, like having certain villain coded things is helpful to have around, right?
Sure.
You know, orcs being perpetual bad guys is a background flavor that you experiment with your player characters, but like they're the bad guys in a lot of things. I don't have a problem with that, right?
Well, there's a lot of reasons that they could be bad guys too. Like the classic Tolkien orc isn't a person.
Right.
Like the classic Tolkien orc is raised from the mud as a horrible perversion of nature and is sent forth to do evil bidding. Right? Like they're not humanoid creatures with like complex thought. They're specifically built to be minions of evil in a universe that has very clear definitions for like, this is the good stuff, this is the bad stuff. Fight.
Yeah, well, and that was so frustrating to me about what the Rings of Power tried to do when it tried to like rewrite that narrative. Like, oh, actually, the orcs have souls and families, and you're like, come on, man! Like, there's got to be something bad for the good guys to look good. Like, it's not all just shades of moral gray.
Yeah, and that I think is one of the problems that I have with this entire initiative from Wizards of the Coast. Like, they have never been good at evil,
right?
I don't think, and like they don't really engage with it in a way that makes a lot of sense to me as somebody who, like, okay, cards on the table. I am not an ethicist. Like, I don't study ethics. It's not a thing that I've like pored over a lot of. I'm much more in like the epistemology realm and aesthetics, but like I've touched on some ethics stuff in the past, and the way that Wizards of the Coast just like uses it as set dressing is infuriating.
Yeah.
Like the idea that I can cast Detect Evil and the pedophile glows. Like,
you're saying things that like I wish were true. Like, like I want more. I want less moral ambiguity in my day-to-day life, and I applaud Wizards of the Coast for trying to manifest that, right?
Well, it's just like this is a subject that we have been trying to sort out since antiquity,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like, Aristotle had things to say about ethics. He had opinions about evil and why people do it and how people do it. And the fact that we haven't figured it out yet, but you can decide on a fancy chart which of the like moral imperatives your character should belong to,
yeah,
is a very strange level of abstraction for me.
I think it's necessary if you're just trying to make a fucking game. like
I don't think it is, though. Like, I think that alignment in general is a mistake.
Okay.
Like, I think that we never should have had an alignment chart in the first place.
Uh-huh.
I think that declaring your character to be of a certain alignment is weirdly prescriptive. And mostly the terms like good and evil in D&D have been more or less set dressing.
Right.
Right? Like, I put some chains and some spikes and some lava in a thing, and now it's evil.
Yeah. Which is fine. like, okay.
As a shorthand, sure.
Every bit of D&D is just the hero's journey. So we've defined our party as the heroes, and now you have to define their opposition as the polar opposite, the villains, right? And so, you know, obviously they had to add a little bit more like ambiguity to what a hero was. Like, well, can you be a hero while still breaking the law? Yeah, you're Robin Hood. You're a chaotic good, right? So putting it in that frame, like, I understand that the only reason that evil exists in this system is because Gary Gygax needed someone to be defined as the bad guy. And so the easiest way to do that was to slap a moral tag on it, because things were a lot more black and white in the 60s, you know? Like,
yeah, it is not a coincidence that a lot of the things that get the evil tag put on them have been used to characterize certain groups of people.
Oh, yeah. I mean, is the game growing past that? Sort of, kind of, but
it's trying. There's a lot of opposition.
Well, no, I get that, and it's the same group of people that always oppose change, right? But then there's also the people who are like, hey, maybe we don't like throw the whole thing out because we still need to have some direction to move with these stories. Like, we can't just say like, yeah, everyone exists on a sliding scale of self-interest, and so I don't know, go out there and just try to be a good fighter. Like, I don't know what it means.
Well, and I think like some of that abstraction does make sense in the realm of like a war game, right? Like, well, if we're looking at it from,
if we're talking about what, you know, fucking D&D grew out of, it's chainmail. It's just a war game, you know.
So like having a spell like detect evil on like a miniature battle map where you're like, hey, I don't know which of these enemies, like which of these figures is the bad guys and which ones are the ones we're supposed to protect. Is there a way for me to figure that out? And then Gary Gygax is like, yeah, there's a spell. It's called Detect Evil. And then it just like hands over like a piece of paper or whatever. And like, yeah, no, all of these guys are glowing and these ones aren't. So they're the evil ones, right? So like,
I don't see anything on this field.
You
sense. Cast the spell and it looks like that bush over there is glowing. I wonder if there's someone behind it. Like, I get it.
Right. But like the aesthetic side of it is interesting to me too, because like both of us have some touchstones with like the metal communities and like punk.
Yeah.
And a lot of those aesthetics are the same, right? Like, if you want to see a bunch of people wearing spikes and chains and like a lot of flames on their stuff, you go to any mosh pit.
Yeah. Purchase clothing made by Vans in the early 2000s, and it's all skulls and flames.
Yeah. So, like, just because something looks evil doesn't necessarily mean it does. Like, if the lair is full of lava and chains, it might just be a goth baddie lives there. Like, you can't tell at first glance, but it helps for the shorthand, I guess.
Well, I mean, that's why there's no good reason for Vader's fortress to be on Mustafar, except for the fact that the whole planet is lava. Like, oh yeah, that's bad guy town.
Right, and like also the thing that made him have to wear the suit.
Yeah.
Like, you would assume that he would want to live on some place like Naboo that would remind him of his wife.
Yeah. Not the calming waters of the lake country, but let's go back where my best friend and mentor, my surrogate father, cut all my limbs off and lit me on fire.
And then ran away with my wife for her to die in childbirth later. Like,
drama queen. Like,
but yeah, no, I feel like these classes, like these subclasses, are just the same thing, right?
In a lot of ways. People have wanted to play the bad guy for a long time, right? I mean, how many campaigns? I know at least one, but I don't know how many you've run, but there's been entire campaigns where people are like, let's just be the bad guys. Like, let's all play evil characters and do evil things for evil reasons, right? Because sometimes it's fun to, like, release that part of your id, right?
I hear that, and at the same time, like, every time I've started like an evil run on Baldur's Gate 3, I'm like, but I don't want them to be sad.
Yeah.
Like, I can't do it. I have very few tendencies towards evil.
I got very angry when that game tricked me into killing a dog and said I was the bad guy. I'm like, he bit me!
That dog could have been your best friend.
Could have been, but he bit me. So,
buddy bait.
No, like, this is like you said, very much evil set dressing on some of these. And it's so easy to just rewrite them as like not an evil thing. Like, when I saw the path of the lich that you could do there, like, my first thought for a soul jar was a cookie jar. Like, it's
well, like, I also think that the ways that they gave you around doing the murder is weird, right? Like, if you're gonna be an evil character, I feel like there has to be evil action tied to that, right? Like, if I can go to an abandoned church and talk shit about God for a while, and that's enough to make me a lich,
because old school lich, like, requirement was you have to murder someone. This is a game about murdering things, but, like, it had to be
blood.
Yeah. So they said, well, you could consume 100 souls, which they did specify, like, only humanoids have souls, which is also, I feel like, a real mean-spirited thing to the dog community. But it they gave you, like, 5 other workarounds. Like, I could just write a naughty poem and say it at church. Or let's see. I could just
I wrote a psalm.
I could use really strong magic to hide from God. Like, come on.
There was a type of lich in Eberron that I thought was pretty cool, where they were like good liches. And that is the only iteration on this that I wanted, right? Like, the idea of a lich is that they are so evil that none of the gods want them.
Right.
Like, they have done something that is so incredibly foul that the gods of death are like, whoa, bro, fucking chill.
Yeah. we can't have you around here. You're gonna cause fights.
Oh man, now I'm thinking of liches as like that guy that always hits on your friends when he shows up at parties, and you're like, man, you can't fucking come around anymore.
Yeah, like, you can't be. Nobody wants you here.
Just, liches are the losers of the mage community. Like, they show up at a mage party and everybody's like, oh fuck, that guy's here.
Yeah, but no, they slightly tone it down to where you can decipher and read a dirty limerick. Like,
fucking don't. And like,
I like the idea of a lich that's just like, I just super don't want to die. Like,
I had the same essential problem with the Book of Vile Darkness when it came out, which is that, like, okay, one, it frames a whole lot of things that are just kink as being vile and evil and wrong.
Okay, so got that right.
And then a lot of it is just the set dressing stuff of like, he's got whips and leather. Yeah, he's gonna be an evil one.
He likes the color black.
Where like actual evil, right? Like evil as it exists in the world is an incredibly complex and multifaceted problem that we've been trying to solve for centuries.
Right.
So, like, there's a lot of different ways that people have defined evil over the millennia. Like, I think I don't have sources for this, but like my understanding of the system of good and evil and like the planes of good and evil and the way that all of that like shakes out in D&D feels very Zoroastrian to me. Gotcha. Where you have like a plane of good, a plane of evil. These things are like objective truths, and you can be closer to one or the other depending on like what you're doing. Right.
I mean, there's that's a certain element of it. Obviously, like their idea of the hells was taken from Dante's Inferno. I mean, in general sense, like the way that their cosmology works is kind of just standard issue, like Greek mythology kind of setup. Right. Well, I guess any polytheistic setup.
But it's for specifically like the good and evil, I think the interesting thing about them is that they are like defined forces,
right,
in the universe, and they don't necessarily reflect what I would consider actually good and evil all the time.
I guess what I'm trying to say is like the way that they defined good and evil was sort of independent of like deities. Because so like if you look at like Abrahamic religions, like good and evil is sort of defined by God, whereas in like D&D and stuff like that, like the gods are just sort of things in charge of certain areas. They're like high level, clerical elements of specific forces of nature, and then good and evil are sort of independent of that. And like some gods and some are coded more good or evil than others based on their ideals. Like, Bahamut is coded more good because of the idea that like because he's a god of like justice, that like that's an inherently good thing, or a lot of the gods of the dead are like either neutral or evil because like the idea that like there's different facets of death that can be more like inherently evil. Like murder is an aspect of death, which is an evil thing, but like dying in itself is sort of neutral because everything dies, and like
also kind of a net good because like death has to happen for life to be able to continue and the cycle to anyway. Like death, not the bad guy, and like the fact that like necromancy is so often pointed to as being like objectively evil, and I think that's maybe like part of the problem that I have with all of this is the idea that there's like an objective evil, that because like I don't want somebody desecrating the corpse of my aunt, but in a culture where you utilize the resources of the people who have passed to be able to build giant monuments and like maintain society, probably not the same taboo.
Yeah. Right? Like Soylent Green is people, but it's not necessarily evil.
Yeah, like gross.
Yeah,
but
not for me. But also, hey, we've got so many people that we kind of have to eat some of them. Otherwise, we'll just run out of resources.
Well, and I guess like the differing definitions of good as well kind of come into it, right? Like the entire idea of like Buddhist evil is connected to wanting, right? To desire and like trying to attain, where that doesn't necessarily follow through to something like Taoism, where like evil would be working against the flow of life, like you're straining against the natural flow of things,
right?
Which doesn't really even touch on like Jesus being like, hey, my dad told you to stop and you guys didn't stop, like could you stop?
Yeah.
If you don't, can you like say sorry?
Well, yeah. Sorry, I would say that's also closer to like Mormonism, or sorry, Moses and like Judaism and like their interpretation of like, hey, God set like some very specific rules, and then Jesus kind of came and was like, yeah, there's some rules, but honestly, like you could pretty much boil it down to like, don't be selfish and don't like be a dick, and just trust God. It's fine. Like just and so like evil is just, I guess, inherently like selfishness,
Well, and I think like Judaism also has like the concept of like inclination, right? So like you have your laws and you have to follow your laws, but like some things are good inclinations, some things are bad inclinations. You're going to kind of follow either one of them sometimes, kind of depends. And then just don't break the fucking laws.
Yeah.
Don't break the rules.
Yeah. A very legalistic idea of good and evil.
But that differentiation between the things that define evil make it very difficult to put a pin on exactly what evil is when trying to like define an evil character or like an evil character archetype.
Right.
And I think the thing that is missing from the character options that they've put out is intent.
Right. Yeah, like there's some of these things they even put in like the Path of the Death Knight, where it's just like there's some that are intent, but there's some that could absolutely be accidental, and they're given equal weight, right? It's like intentionally harmed an innocent, or like made a pact with a demon lord, or you ran away in battle. You got scared. Like those
accidentally kicked a puppy.
Yeah. Betrayed a loved one. Like, not like...
Well, and like, some of that is happening in modern day ethics discourse.
Right.
Because like, the other thing is like, this isn't solved. Right? Like, ethics is not solved. We don't have a clearly defined good and evil. People are still arguing about the nuances of these things today. And like big brains, philosophers, people who are getting paid a fair amount of money, probably not as much as they should be, to be thinking about these big questions. And like things like, does evil just boil down to harm? Right? Like, do you require intent for an action to be evil, or is the harm that the action caused sufficient? Right? Or like the systemic angle of it, of like, yes, you can cause harm as a person. Evil requires organization, right? If you're going to do something evil, it needs to be a lot of people doing a major harm.
Yeah.
And then like aspects of scale, where it's like this evil thing is bad, but when you do a whole lot of it, it becomes evil.
Right.
So like, punching somebody in the face, bad. Punching 500 babies in the face, evil.
Right.
Also funny.
Hilarious. Well, that's a whole other dumb argument to have for a long time. Because like you said, you talk about people who get paid money to think about these things. And there's also like the weirdos in it for the love of the game, like Kant, and then like he hits all these ideas, and then you look at how he actually lived his life, and you're like, wait a minute, I'm not taking anything this guy says seriously because he's so out of touch with reality. Like, what are you talking about?
Violating universal moral laws, he says as he's like getting crazy.
Yeah, like, I'm sorry, but like it's weird to think that the idea of like morality might require a little bit of the death of the author.
If we get t-shirts, I want that to be a t-shirt. Morality requires a little bit of the death of the author.
It's not like, oh yeah, like, you know, I rely on like the Torah for my spiritual guidance and absolute moral center. Also, never mind that time God sent some bears to murder a bunch of kids because they laughed at one of his prophets. Like, just maybe there's some gray areas there.
Yeah. I think, yeah, for me, like, if you're gonna play with evil,
right,
then you have to define for you and your crew what that evil means.
Right.
Right? Because, like, there are going to be people who are going to play these classes and be like, ha ha ha, we're evil characters now. It doesn't matter if we do the bad things. And then they're still going to do heroic shit all the time anyway.
Yeah.
Right? Like, there's going to be no stopping them. They're going to go into the dungeon. They're going to rescue the princess. They're going to slay the dragon, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, then there's the guy who's like, I'm chaotically good, but spends the entire campaign just being a selfish dick.
Yeah, or like the lawful good murder hobos. Right? Like, again, alignment is so weirdly prescriptive in D&D that it's really strange to try and like pin it on characters before they actually start going on. But like, if you're going to be doing something like this, if you're going to be putting out like options for evil characters, I think the thing that really needs to come hammered home is the motivations behind these characters. What is driving them to do evil things? What is making them want to inflict harm on others? And like, how does that manifest in the world? Right? Because like, if it's just a matter of doing things that hurt people, then basically every hero is a villain.
Yeah. Yeah, I think if you look at the angle of like, for me, a lot of it comes down to like, if you're playing an evil character, you are playing a selfish and self-serving character, right? And to the extent that you will allow harm to happen to further that end, as long as, you know, you yourself benefit, that's where the evil comes from in the character. But I also like the idea of like, hey, maybe you don't have to like put that on someone from the start, and you could just like, I don't know, as a DM, you have the little side quests that are going to sort of, you know, define the majority of the time towards the grand thrust of the campaign. And you just sort of make notes on the grid every time your characters complete a side quest of like their choices in that. Did they complete it for selfish reasons? Did they complete it, you know, generally in a good way, generally in an evil way, something like that? And then once you get X number of them done, then you're like, okay, well, hey, guess what? This is actually the morality of your character. Like, you just played it straight and the way you wanted it to. Guess what? You're evil. Like,
the D&D alignment system has just become Fable. And you're going to get like little horns and a halo.
It's just a race to find out who at your table is actually the chicken chaser.